Okay, tonight's book review part 1, Lisa Renee Jones, The Truth About Cowboys. And it's a really good book. I'll read the back to you before we go to the little gold part here. Lisa Renee Jones does wildly sexy alpha heroes like no one else, from the New York Times best-selling author Jill Chavez. I had my life figured out. Engaged to a successful man, about to make partner at my firm, bought a high-rise apartment in downtown Denver, and then, poof, it's all gone. Now, like in some cheesy romantic comedy, my car is broken down in the pouring down rain on my way to, quote, find myself, end quote, in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Cue hot guy coming out to my rescue and changing my tire. This is the part where we flirt and have a meet cute, right? That's how it works in romance novels. And I should know, after all, I'm coming to Texas to write my own cowboy romance. But nope. This sexy cowboy lights me about not being prepared for the country roads and how inappropriate my high-heeled boots are. Little did I know that Jason Jenks would tilt my world into a new dimension with his sinful smirk and his bad attitude. Every time I turn around, he's there to reluctantly save the day. And every time I think there may be something to spark, we ignite. But there's a reason the majority of country songs are about broken hearts. The closer I get to this man, the closer I get to learning the truth about cowboys. And of course it says, print exclusive bonus is in the content. Now, to me, the bonus content should have been in the front of the book, because it kind of explains what went on in order for her to get to where she's going from Denver to Texas, but they didn't do that. So, let's see here. This, of course, came out in 2019. This was one of those books that I got at Goodwill before they were forced to close. Sad day, but what a wonderful find. Now, as you can see, I've already got a hunk chaptered off here. We're going to go until I get too tired to read tonight. Then I probably will have to make it a 2-night book review, first time ever. That's how good this book was. So let's see. Okay, so we're going to start with, I'm going to give you a rundown of what happens. She's rented a cabin. The cabin she's rented from is from Jason's grandma, Martha. Hence what struck a chord in me because of my late grandma, Martha. Jason is very arrogant. He is very much of a butthole, to put it nicely. And there's reasons, though. Jessica is very giving. Sometimes her past comes to haunt her as well. However, these two have to work through their past in order to get to a future. Now, Martha is meeting Jessica basically for the first time. And she's telling, he says, you need inspiration, he says, dryly referencing his earlier comments, and he needs cookies. Martha sets a tray of delicious-looking cookies on top of the stove. Corrupt me. Martha snorts. Boy, if anyone corrupted me, it was your grandfather. He was a perfect angel any more than you are. I'm a perfect angel, Jason declares before he snatches a cookie that has to burn his fingers, but he's without a flinch. He manhandles that cookie and takes a bite. It's a skill she admires. Manhandling a cookie and eating it hot is just admirable. Their eyes meet, and if he knew what she was thinking, it'd be too hot to handle. I'm paraphrasing. And then the grandma asks, well, what inspiration do you need, Jessica? She inhales, turns her back to the room, and Mr. Inspiration finishes off the cookie. She's writing some kind of happy how-to divorce book, he supplies, dusting off his hands. Her first tip is don't marry a butthole cowboy. I glare at the butthole cowboy himself, who is clearly trying to get me in trouble with his grandmother, holding my breath for her reply. For all I know, I may be about to get myself kicked out in the mud and the rattlesnakes in my high-heeled boots. And one thing I did find unique about this book, she writes it from both perspectives. She writes it from Jessica's perspective and Jason's perspective. So you can see what the woman's thinking and see what the man is thinking. And it's sometimes two totally different things. But do they wind up together? I'm still holding my breath when Martha bursts out laughing. Very good tip, Jessica, indeed. Don't marry a butthole cowboy. My friend Linda did, and it took her 20 years to get the nerve to divorce the jerk. I can have Linda give you some tips on how to spot an idiot cowboy if you need them. I think your grandson's doing just fine on that one, I say, deciding to dive right into the mud all over again. He tried to kick me out of the cottage, not once, but perhaps 3 or 4 times, if only a few hours ago I lost count. Oh, honey, Martha said, all melodramatic, fighting a smile. Sounds horrible, like you need a cookie. Why, yes, I do, I say, crossing to the opposite side of the island from Jason, where I set down my mug and sit on the edge of a bar stool. A cookie sounds perfect. An idiot cowboy does not. How's Linda doing now? Amazing. She married that foreman of the ranch, she who's madly in love with her. And since they were kids and he never asked to marry her again, he held out the cookie. It was just so romantic. She motions to the cookie. Hurry, try one while they're hot. I don't need any further encouragement. Despite that certain cowboy staring at me, apparently eager to watch me either burn or bite my tongue. But I don't care. I'm hungry, and these cookies look and smell fabulous. I pick up one on the side, on which immediately has me moaning in delight. Oh, God, that's so good. What's in that? Sugar and butterscotch? Yes, butterscotch, Martha beams. It's my signature cookie. You like it? I nod without hesitation. I'd love it. I've never had anything quite like it. It's like sweet butter on a tongue. Jason picks up another cookie and smirks. I hate how beautiful he is when he smirks. I think he's on the cover of a magazine with that smirk. In the hindsight, he says dryly, if I wanted to get rid of you, her cookies were not the way to do it. Why would you want to get rid of her? Martha asks. She seems quite lovely, and she's paying rent. His eyes flick to her and land hard on me as he replies, she's a divorce attorney, as if that answers the question. I'm aware of that fact, Martha said, leaning on the island, just because how else would she write a book on that topic? Jessica and I talked for quite some time on the phone before I chose to lease to her. He scowls. She's writing a divorce book in your cottage that Grandpa built for you. Because, she argues, no one finds what your grandparents had while stuck in a bad marriage. Too often, I add, finishing off my cookie, people settle for the wrong people just to be married. He arches a brow. And you're happily married, expert? I bristle despite my best efforts not to react. He's hit a nerve. A big, bouncy nerve. I'm not married, obviously, or I wouldn't be here alone. Divorced? No. Because you're waiting on the right man? Martha interjects. Good girl. Where are your parents? Another nerve hit. And this one's bouncing around the kitchen light until it settles deep in my belly, where I need about 10 more cookies. I pick up my mug and sip. I don't know my father. My mother's traveling around the world with husband number 4. Sip the coffee again. She's certainly taught me what not to do. And now you're spreading the life-saving knowledge to the rest of the world, Jason enquiries. Getting out of a bad marriage takes courage, Martha states. And Jeannie's daughter, where is she now? Teaching in Taiwan. Jessie and her needs to have some girl talk, so she scoots him out of the room. And she does it quite funny when she's like, they're talking about women things. And it's all that she can do not to laugh, fighting the curve of her lips when Jason turns an accusing stare that says, I'm not done with you, before he looks at his grandmother again. I'll be in the den. She grabs another cookie. He doesn't take too kindly to outsiders. I'm sure he doesn't. He probably thinks everyone wants a piece of him, but I can assure you that's not the case. Her eyes go wide. You know who he is? I love sports. Football, baseball. I recognized him. You're a fan? Well, I run my hands down my jeans. No, I'm from Dallas. He played for New York. I sort of hated him. He was good and that sucked for us. She laughed. He was good, and he is good. But regardless, he didn't get to choose his team, you know. He's a Texan, too. Oh, I know that, but he wanted to win for New York, and that made him the enemy. Did you tell him that? Yes, well, that kind of spontaneously erupted from my mouth, but in my defense, I'm passionate about baseball, and with baseball comes certain automatic reactions. She laughs. I like you, Jessica. You say what you think. Maybe a little too much for my own good. I murmur, thinking about the client I called a cheating loser, among other things. I hold up a cookie. But cookies make everything, well, everything but the waistline better. Even my mouth. Oh, pish-posh, honey, you're tiny. Thank you. I've eaten my weight in chocolate for the past few days. Maybe I should volunteer here on the ranch and work off some calories. She narrows her intelligent blue eyes on me. You want to help on the ranch? I think it might be good for me, says the divorce attorney used to high heels and high rises. I bristle. I am not the sum of my high heels and high rises. No, but I looked you up and down, and I know you're one of the top divorce attorneys in the state. You, my dear, cater to the rich and famous. I finish off my cookie. I really need another. That just sort of happened. And yet here you are writing a book with no case to handle. What happened? And before you answer, that background is the part of the reason I said yes to you renting the cottage. Anyone who has dealt with the rich and famous knows how to keep their mouth shut really well about their lives. I radiate toward that part of the statement easily. I do indeed know how to keep my mouth shut. Okay. And we learn about her past a little bit. And that her and Martha have a good go-between, if you will. More banter between Jessica and Jason. Page 64. His blue eyes are suddenly pinning me. City and country don't mix. You know that, right? Says who? You? Yes, says me. My chin lifts defiantly. I guess we'll see about that. I guess we will, he says, stepping away from me. The loss of his body heat darn near leaves me chilly, despite the warm Texas night. By the time I recover, he's already down the stairs and at his truck door. You coming or what, city girl? I'm coming all right, and I'm doing so with a promise. If he keeps calling me city girl, there'll be hell to pay. Page 66. Now, why did I mark this? Because I don't have it marked on the page. I'm trying to find out why I marked it. First of all, she replies without missing me, there's nothing wrong with city girls. There was clearly something wrong with you and your city girl model since she's no longer in the picture. And no, I'm not digging for information. I don't want to know. But I'm not her. And besides, how do you know that I'm even a city girl? I could have grown up on a farm. At this point, we're already outside the ranch. And that's how much she talks. I've never liked talkers, but the words that come out of Jessica's mouth are too outrageous to ignore. That's my excuse for listening, and I'm sticking to it. If you were, you'd have just said that you were, instead of giving me a hypothesis and high-heeled boots. You know how I ended up here, she says, without looking at me, because we both know that you have a habit of listening in on conversations that aren't meant for your ears. There it is again. That hitch in her voice that I heard when she was talking to my grandma, the same hitch that I felt when my gut signaled emotions I understand in ways that I don't plan to share. That hitch that convinced me to let her stay. I fight the insanity for asking for details. And we both know you're a city girl. Okay, yes, but that's exactly why I want and I need to be here. Not because I need. She presses her lips together. Your grandmother is lovely, she says. Instead of seeing me, and she says, side-eyeing me, I really enjoyed meeting her today. She's a piece of work, I say. Roke's words to Jessica, and then adding, like you. Because I'm a city girl, she replies, which you don't trust. Obviously, a confidentiality agreement won't change that fact. She's wrong. Partly, the offer didn't make me trust her, but I don't distrust her at this point either. I don't know what made you like you are, I say dryly. Maybe it was the city. Maybe someone dropped you on your head as a baby. Ha ha, do all cowboys tell bad jokes? Are all city girls smart-mouthed? Some like me even I can be foul-mouthed, so if you cowboy very much. We're going to move on. Page 120. We're making good pages here. I know you didn't do this, I believe you, and then he stuns me by adding, I'm sorry, you're right. I judged you by other people, and you're also right that I'm an idiot. I blanch. Did you just apologize, or did I hear you wrong? Are you rubbing it in my face? No, I say, though you deserve it, but no, that's not my style. It's not, is it? No, it is not. I'm sorry, he repeats. Should I repeat that again? Maybe a few more times. He smiles. Apology accepted, I say. And no, you're not an idiot because idiots don't apologize. Craig, which is her ex-boyfriend, is another story. He's the idiot, and I won't call you that anymore, I promise. He arches a brow. No more idiot cowboy? Well, let's be clear on that point. No more idiot cowboy unless you really deserve it. Duly noted. Don't be an idiot or stick anything in the wrong place with the wrong person. My cheeks heat at the realization that I really said that, and he heard that. He smiles, he chucks on me on the chin in what could be a brotherly gesture, but whatever. Our laughter lifts and catches in the wind, chimes in the rain, and I do believe it's the sound of a truce. Okay, 124. It was Craig, Jessica corrects, that idiot ex, not the idiot cowboy. He kept calling, and I was upset over the whole thing with Jason. I just wanted to stop ringing. Ah, now, Jessica, I thought you weren't going to call me an idiot anymore. She crinkles her nose. Not as a nickname, only if you deserve it. That's what I said, and in this case, I'm referencing a recollection as in past tense, and when you got here a few minutes ago, you were an idiot, therefore deserving of the title. The look gives me dares to deny the truth. I don't dare, and my grandmother saves me anyway. What is all this about? I scrub in my jaw and sigh. The Dallas Morning News is planning a sports segment about me. A friend is trying to get me to copy early, but she heard there's a headline. He ran as fast as he threw. Ouch, Jessica says. She has a way with words, this one. Yes, ouch. Ouch indeed, my grandmother says. And you didn't run, you just... Grandma, I warn you before she blasts my business to Jessica, who knows so damn much about me as it is. I was the idiot who assumed her guilt. Okay, and that was page 125. Moving forward, page 130. Martha growls, you tigress, you have put up with some of the stories in your book. I laugh and I help her clean up again, thinking about her comment. I do want this book to be fun, not depressing. Maybe I need to show people how silly and destructive divorce can get and why they just need to walk away. But I find it so hard for people to do. They miss the love and the bond they once shared. The pain drives them craziness. And yet I don't miss Craig, not at all. I just feel uprooted. I feel unstable, but as I watch Martha working, humming as she does, I realize that I don't miss the man. I also don't feel alone. Page 165. I'm not going to ask you what happened, so you don't have to regret telling me. And just so the record, your grandmother tried to tell me why you made certain decisions, and I told her not to do that. Your story is yours to tell, but it was hard to talk to her and not find anything out. He searches my face. What did you find out, Jessica? She talked a little about your dad and teaching you to pitch and about his history. I hesitate. About the plane crash. She talked about you with love. She really does love you, and I reach out to touch his arm. I promise you, I don't want to invade your space, but it's hard to keep her from talking about you. It's like denying her a pleasure. He catches my hand and grabs my stool, pulling me closer. Ask what you want to ask, he says. His voice is rough and intense. No, I say. No, you don't need to open that door for me. You don't any answers to any questions. The truth is that setup is safe. My romance novel mental chatter can stop there. No pain, only gain, all that mental bravado, and yet I still want to object to that statement, but he doesn't. His emotion radiates through him. The room wrapping around me. I turn back to him, hands on the island, his shoulders knotted. I step to him and rest my hand on the roped muscle of his shoulder, allowing him the space his back tells me he needs. It's never going to be right time to leave her. He means his grandma. He means to play again. It's not out of the system. He rotates his face and his eyes are haunted in a way I don't quite understand. Yes, I know losing his parents is huge, but there's more to this story. I decide to throw caution to the wind. He opened the door. I'm going to ask questions, but I don't get the chance to ask more. And they get intimate. It's amazing how that just throws them right into intimacy. Page 172. You still expect the worst of me, I swallow against the rawness in my throat. Why? Experience. It's an answer that comes fast and easy to him, despite the fact that his experience doesn't come from me. On this I do not object. The same reason I expect you to be an idiot, I say. Understandable completely. I'm not going to ask you to trust me or treat me like I'm a one of a kind and different when you barely know me. I get why you trust is a challenge. Yes, he says, studying me closely, it is. His phone rings on the nightstand. He grabs it, reading a message. He studies it several beats, and I'm not sure if he's reading the message. I just second a breath, feeling the distinct chill of him going cold on me. He sits up, offering a beautiful but yet unwelcome view of his back. He types a message to whoever texted him. I think I need to go take care of a problem. He stands up. She figures out they were only just a one-night stand, so she's going to let him go. And he just basically says at that point, I'll take you to the main house tomorrow. When you're done, you can take a ride around the ranch, get a lay of the land. She's like, I don't. He's like, right, I got it. He disappears and goes out the door into the living room. Her eyes go wide. Is he leaving? She scrambles about. I exit the bedroom and pan out. Damn it, don't be an idiot. I grab the door frame. You didn't even let me finish. He's at the door ready to leave. He doesn't, though, which seems like a real effort on him. But I get this, too. He cut me off with an awkward place in that sentence. It seemed like he was declining a date. I was going to warn you that I don't remember how to ride a horse, if that's what you meant by ride. But yes, I close the distance between us. Yes, I'd like to very much see the ranch with you. Like I said, they both have trust issues. They both have problems. They both have to work through their ghosts in order to get to that point. I think any relationship is a lot of work. You've got to put the work in order for it to be worth that effort, that point. Okay. He talks with his best friend, who's like a brother to him, about the past, of course, and about his grandma, and about how close Jessica's getting to him and how that scares him. He doesn't want that, but yet he does. Page 192. You need a good romance novel to remind you that good men are real, which is why I brought you my collection. She takes off for the door, and I let her go. Why would she bring her collection to me if she thought I was going to leave? Because I think she doesn't really want to go back with her. That bites, and I try to let it go because admittedly I'm a little sensitive right now. Exactly why she comes back inside with Victoria's Secret carry-all on her shoulder and plops on the couch. I don't let it go. I guess you didn't think I'd really go back with you. You, Jess, she says. Of course you're not coming back. That's how you are. You decide, you do, and if you succeed at everything you do, you don't talk, you just do. She takes the wind out of my prickly sails just as anything. Is that a good thing? It's fabulous, she said. And damn Craig for making you doubt yourself enough to ask that question. You're effing fabulous, and he's an effing loser. You will not let him run you down. That's the end. She grabs a romance novel from the bag. You wanted to write a romance novel. That's how much you believed in romance. Read them. Remember, date a damn cowboy that doesn't have an agenda besides riding you instead of riding a horse. Better yet, you ride him and screw everything else. Unless you fall in love. If you fall in love, her eyes go wide. Write about that. What? Write the romance novel. Screw the divorce book. Divorce has made you a cynical wench. Back in high school, that was a long time ago. Yes, it was. We met in our freshman year, and I know you. You set aside the divorce, write the romance, write it for you. You don't have to publish it. That's her best friend talking, who comes out to the ranch to pay her a visit. Also, to have her cat sit. And she falls in love with the cat, and the cat becomes a big part of the story. Page 242. Okay, this is a heart-to-heart from Martha, if you will. Take it from an old lady. She says, your heart is broken. Once it heals, you'll look at things anew. That's the thing, I say, holding out the knife that now drips with icing. I'm not heartbroken. I'm hurt. I'm embarrassed. Honestly, I'm a little scared, and I can't explain why. But the bottom line is, I'm not heartbroken. You didn't love him. I think it was all about security for me. The perfect job, the perfect apartment, the perfect man, at least on paper. Ah, yes, you didn't have the growing up. Interesting that you know this about yourself. I didn't, or I wouldn't have been with Craig, but this kind of thing makes you look at yourself. Maybe it's not that you're afraid of being alone. Maybe it's you're afraid of dating again, that you find an excuse to protect your heart. The whole find myself all by myself thing can be quite deceiving. And you know this how? You were happily married, inevitably happily. I was, but I had a life before my husband. I had a Craig. My Craig was Jesse. And I really didn't hate men then. I really did hate men after him. And yet you ended up happy. How in the world did that happen? Tell me, I'm inspired. I was a wedding planner coming off the Jesse hell, handling a wedding here at the ranch for one of Oliver's closest friends. Oliver and I were like oil and water. Talk about fights. We went at each other, but you know, the fine line between love and hate became love. A wedding planner, that must have been hard when you were dealing with Jesse. It helped me to get out of my house and see outside of my own self-pity. Yes, but the romance of a wedding must have been brutal. The romance made me remember that love exists. Take my advice, write the romance novel. It'll make divorce guides have more depth. It'll make you write people's hearts when you see your own agenda. Go on a few dates with Jason. Oh, no. I point at her, a cookie at her. I see what you're doing. Not your grandson. You two, no, Martha, not Jason. She cast me a curious eye. But you two, Martha, Jessica. I can't. He's very, very what? Too much right now. And that's page 242 to 243. Page 256. He's having to get a very hard reminder that Jessica is not his ex, Tess. And Tess is not Jessica. Because the fine line is getting blurred, if you will. She's not Tess. She's not taking turns riding your men instead of riding your horses. And even if she was, that's her prerogative. Tess was your woman. You considered proposing, which I never understood. And I'm glad as F that when that didn't work out. My point, Jessica is not yours. She's not mine. Those words punched me in the chest with a force that was all but tilted my chair. Now, if you want to change that, Rourke says, change it. If not, back the F off, because otherwise you're coming off as an idiot to her and your men. Leave it to Rourke to put things in perspective. She's not mine. I'm an idiot. That was from the Jason perspective on page 256. Page 264 and 265. Sorry I ran into you. Are you? I swallowed hard. I've been staying out of your way. At my house. Is that a problem? No, Jessica, it's not a problem. Why, oh why, did my body get excited when he said my name? You're holding my hands, I know. Are you planning to say something to tick me off? And you're ensuring I don't hit you because I still have a knee. How's the book coming? Which one? Either. Slow. I was a jerk Sunday, and I can tell you or my men, and I can't tell you or my men who to date. In other words, his distance was a message. He decided that I was bad news and he was better off without me. Okay. No snappy comeback. No snappy comeback. He inhaled. If you have something you want to say it to me. You're my landlord. I get that. Jessica. At the sound of the grandmother, Jason stepped back. And she goes figuring out what the grandma needs, basically. Page 268. We set a time for 7, and I had to head to my car. I'm about to get inside, and he glances up at me and smiles. Oh God, it's a friendship smile. I don't know what to do now. I get in my car and scold myself because why can't it be a date? Jason told me not to date. The whole world told me to date. But even if I wasn't about Jason, which I am, I'm worried about the butterflies I don't feel with Darius, but I do feel with Jason. Maybe those aren't butterflies Jason gives me. Maybe it's indigestion from his judgmental attitude. That's got to be it. I'll make this Darius thing, one way or another, work. He comes to put an air conditioner in for Jessica, but ends up getting hurt. Page 271. I'm your damn landlord. You want a window unit, you talk to me. I did. You blew me off and you mocked me. He grabbed my arm and pulled me to him. I told you not to date my men. Actually, you told me what to do and what I wanted, and pretty much said you were through with me and you can stop grabbing me. His jaw clenches. He cuts his stare before looking at me again. That's what you think? That I told you that I was done with you? You did. I didn't. Whatever. This wasn't because of a date. I told you it was a freak accident, the kind that seems to follow me everywhere lately. I came through the door, page 272. He was holding the air conditioner and we collided. And how do you even know? It's a small town. Everyone knows everything. And yet you thought I was your local TMZ. I'm just a city girl standing in front of a country cottage asking it to take her away until you leave. Right. When I leave, I'm going to write a tell all about you, the story perhaps about a man who played ball and decided to be a rancher while wishing he was still playing ball. A man who secretly practices while he thinks no one is looking, but his grandma knows. And that was out before I could even stop it. Damn it. I wouldn't actually tell that story. That was just me talking to you. You know that, right? He studies me, his expression unreadable. Let's go inside. That might be safer than standing here speaking to you. Yes, it would. I nod and he releases me, which should please me, but at the same time, I cold chill. I just called the man on his fake life after trying to kill one of his men and who works for him. Really? Should I even be here? That's when Jason halts and turns me into the direction. Coming? I don't know if I belong here. And I'm not just talking about the hospital. Jason fully rotates, putting the space between us, takes my hand and starts walking again. I double step to keep up with him and he doesn't let me go until we're solidly inside the hospital. He motions to the desk, finding out what's going on with his man Darius. It's a tough choice for me, but I chose now a row of chairs facing the door. Darius appeared through the door and flirts with him, of course, because he's the local hottie, the Flying J, the man that probably they all want, not me. I don't want that man a million women want. I want a man who wants me and makes me forget a million women want him. This man, the one I got naked with, like a fool asking for a broken heart, saunters back my direction and claims the chair next to me. He won't be long, they're stitching him up. Apparently he has a broken rib he claims is from your elbow. I cringed. I was on top of him. His brow shoots up. Is that right? Oh, good grief, I breathe out. Stop saying, is that right? You ask me that when you don't believe me, and I don't like it. I never said I don't believe you. I was on top of him because we fell, Jason. I twisted around to face him. It wasn't even a date. Of course not. He leans back in his seat there and smelling good and being a total idiot. I told you he was doing me a favor. Page 274. He glances over at him. Did you kiss him? Is that some criteria to judge what is or what is not a date? Did you kiss him? No, apparently I only kiss men who date me. Or hate me, sorry. No wonder I'm writing a divorce guide. I sink back into my chair. No wonder I'm so damn good at divorce. He looks at me. You mean your ex? I don't look at him. And you. I don't hate you, Jessica. You hated me the minute I got into town in my high-heeled boots. I glance over him. And what could you possibly know of my ex? Enough. Obviously not, or you wouldn't keep acting like I came here to destroy your world. I cut my stare. I came here because you know why I came here. Seconds tick by before he says, we've both been burned. I dare look at him. I guess that's one thing we can agree on. I think there's a lot more that we can agree on. Do you? Or do we? Sorry. Yes, he says we do. I'm just a city girl and you're someone who's been unfair, and I'm sorry. I told you that you could stay here and heal. He scrubs his jaw and presses his hands to his heels. I kept judging you by my past. He draws a breath and exhales in a puff and then offers me his hand. Truce, friends. Friends. Page 275. Why does that word cut me open when friends is supposed to be a good thing? He looks at his hand in mine and a question in his look. I hesitate and press my hand to his, the connection electric, radiating up my arm across the chest. Friends, I whisper, but I've never had a friend that makes me feel what this man makes me feel. His eyes warm, a sizzle in their depths, and if this is what friendship feels like, then I'm very confused. Jason, you're still holding my hand. Yes, I am. Mr. Jinks, the nurse voice, we break apart and stand. You can come back if you like. I grab my purse, eager to see how Darius is doing, and Jason and I move forward, but the nurse holds her hand up. Just Jason. He doesn't want to see you. I feel like a punch to the gut. Jason turns to face me. Let me just go and talk to him, and I just need to go, Jason. We both know I do. I turn and hurry out of the hospital to my car. Once I'm inside, I turn on the engine and start to drive. I want to go home, only I'm not sure where that is right now. Okay, that will probably be it for part 1 of this book review. It will be extended tomorrow night to part 2 of this book review. And what is the rating? You got to see the end of the book review to get the rating. Sorry, not giving you a rating yet. To get the rating, to find out more about Jason and Jessica, will it be Pride and Prejudice, or will love conquer all? You got to stay tuned. It's one of these books that you just really can't put down. Sorry to make you wait, y'all, but what is that about absence? Absence makes the heart grow fonder? You'll want to see the next part of the book review. Guaranteed.